Alright, so before we hop into the video today, I got a little ahead of myself. I was worried about trying to clear the underside of the car here with the transmission. Again, that's, trying to get under that 25 inches. And we got the space. From here to the floor, it's about 26 and a half inches. Transmission jack only goes up to a height of 23 and a quarter inches. So I need to make up about 3 inches between the transmission jack and the transmission. So I'm gonna have to do some sort of clever engineering here. Probably gonna take some 2x4s, build some spacers for the transmission jack. What I'll have to do then is, as I'm lowering the transmission, stop about halfway, take these jack stands here, rest the transmission on those, take the jack down all the way, take the spacer out, run the jack back up, take the transmission down, and then we can roll it out. So it's gonna be a little bit more effort than I thought. The other thing too is the narrowest point between these headers here, down here at the collectors, you can see them, is 17 inches, 17 and a half. The bell housing at its widest point is 18 inches. So somehow I'm going to need to be able to bring the transmission down and back as I'm coming out to get it down here more towards the narrow end of the collectors where I have that 18 inches of clearance. So we're gonna jump in here, start getting some things disconnected, and see if we can make this happen. Hopefully I don't need to pull the headers. That would suck. Okay, so let's start our magical tour on what needs to be disconnected to remove the transmission from the engine. First, you can see here we have our bolts for the torque converter. Let's see, we got another one here. There are 3 of these for a Chevy small block. Pull those, that'll disconnect the torque converter from the flex plate. On the passenger side here, up here, we're gonna have some transmission cooler lines. We're gonna have to get those disconnected. Over here is a vacuum port. That's a pretty easy one to disconnect. Here on the driver's side, we have the shifter linkage. And then our speedo cable. And somewhere up here, we should also have our neutral safety switch, but we'll find that here in a little bit. And last but not least, we have the transmission cross member, which will also need to get pulled out. Now, what's going to be interesting for this is this mount is hashed. I mean, this nut isn't even really doing anything. Now, what I'm concerned about though is this thing's just spinning in here. I don't think the actual lug in here is actually holding on to anything. So transmission mount might be coming out with a transmission cross member, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get this out while it's still connected to the transmission. Anyways, we're going to get some jacks in here. We'll need to put a jack underneath the engine block here just to make sure it stays stabilized. Once we get all that disconnected though, get the transmission jack in here. We'll need to also pull the bolts from the bell housing up there. So anyways, we're gonna get some stuff in here and start working on getting this pulled out. Okay, so quick update. I was doing some trials with this transmission jack here, and this whole assembly here, which is what moves this up and down, exploded on me. So this is gonna go back to Harbor Freight, because yeah, that sucks. All right, see y'all in a little bit. All right, we're back. Took the old jack back to Harbor Freight. kind of hit the reset button here a little bit and bought this jack style transmission jack here. This thing's rated for almost double what the last one was, so I feel like this is probably going to be a lot more stable. I mean, it feels a lot more solid than that last jack. Obviously, we're going to be a little tight for space under here. Now, I could probably pull this jack out for now until I've got everything disconnected, and then put this back in once I go to start to remove the bell housing bolts. That way I can have a little bit more clearance under here while I'm trying to work. Yeah, otherwise, looks like we got all the materials we need now, and it's time to start yanking stuff. Okay, so welcome back. So we had to remove the header from the passenger side. Reason being, it was getting in the way of everything, like getting the transcooler lines out of there, getting the dipstick tube out, getting the bolts out from the bell housing. So we got it out of there. It's out of the way now. We got everything cleared out from the passenger side. We've got one bolt left on the driver's side, and this thing should be ready to drop out. So let's get in here and get this thing dropped. All right, so transmission's out of the car. That's gonna do it for today's episode. Next time, we're gonna get in here and get the torque converter out, take a look at this front pump, see where we're leaking from, maybe clean up this casing a little bit. As you can tell, it's kind of gross. And yeah, see y'all next time.